Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hey, it is Thursday, which is my video day, and happy always to come on and chat with you. It is springtime in Texas. Things are in bloom. The bluebonnets are out. The weather's gorgeous. Couldn't be a happier time of year. And with all the new growth, you start thinking about spring cleaning and, starting new things up. It feels like a time of refreshment and new activities and excitement. So I thought I would talk a little bit about change. One thing that I learned in corporate America during my time working for a large company was a lot about change management strategies. And in my coaching world, we talk about that a lot as well. Interestingly enough, that's something that we don't really get from our doctors very much. They want us to change, but we really don't know how. So I think it's a good time to talk about that. So first, when you really start thinking about change, you have to kind of look at who wants the change. And if we think of ourselves as many different parts, right? We have that inner critic that's in there that's keeping us safe. We have the adventurer that wants to go out. There's just a lot of different parts of our personality, and some want to change and some don't. So it's kind of interesting to think about which part of you wants to change and why. And then we can sort of gear into that. So if it's your inner critic and they want to change because they feel like what you're doing isn't safe, then we really need to focus on how do you make yourself feel safe. If it is your adventuresome side and they want to go out and do something crazy and wild, and how do we address that need in yourself? So it's more than just a want to do something. Wanting always leaves you kind of hanging. It's out there to dry a little bit. So really understand why you want to change and which part of yourself wants to change and for what reason. And then when you have change, you're establishing a new pattern, right? So you got to let the old pattern go, and it's okay to do that. You don't have to do the things the same way that you always have. But it is important to let go. And, this whole cycle of change, especially in the spring, we think about how nature works, right? So if you think of a seed or a flower, it grows, seeds come out as the flower dies, they drop down, they get planted, they regrow. So there's this always, for something new to happen, there's always a letting go. And whatever the behavior that you have that you think that you don't want to do anymore, or let's say you want to improve your blood sugar testing or improve your diet or increase your exercise or, pay more attention to XYZ, whatever that may be. You really have to let go of why you did it and then what you want to get from that moving forward. So, and I just lost my train of thought. Check my notes. Why did I forget that? So you're going to learn a new one. So you have to let go. That's the first thing. And when you let go, you have to be prepared for what's to come, and it's going to be uncomfortable. Right? So whenever we start something new, it feels weird. We're not used to it. It's not our go-to thing. But if you're prepared for that uncomfortableness, then you're like, aha, just what I thought. When I worked in the ER, I worked with a doctor, and one time he told me that you never go into the patient's room and go, oh my gosh, no matter what you see or what happens in the ER, you go in and you go, aha, just what I expected. And there is a sense of calm and a sense of security about something not coming at you sideways. So if you're making a change and you prepare to be uncomfortable, that helps a lot. There's a little bit of waiting for change, right? So I think you also have to be kind to yourself and know that it doesn't happen in one moment. One of the other coaching modalities that we talk about is underestimating or undersetting your goals. So if your goal is to check your blood sugar, let's say, every day, and you check it once a week now, every day may be a lot to tolerate and you may get sick of it. So maybe just try doing it twice a week, right? Little small goals. And so you do it, and that's great. Maybe you cut your carbs down by X%. Maybe, whatever the things are, don't try to do it perfectly at first. Small baby steps, and that's how we affect change, right? A flower doesn't just shoot up one day and it's a flower. They're little tiny subtle changes over time. So you got to let go. You got to be uncomfortable. You're going to be planted. You're in a dark space. You have to wait a little bit and then celebrate, right? Every little thing you do. So if you have little mini goals and you're achieving those little mini goals, even if it's not the end big goal, you still want to celebrate. Look what you did, because that positivity will, keep repeating itself. So just celebrate everything and acknowledge the work that you did. So even if it's small, I think that's where we, especially in the US, it has to be perfect, it has to be big, it has to be bold. But sometimes just little steps in the right direction, over time get you there. And those are the ones that are really going to make a bigger difference at the end of the day. So that would be my 3-step strategy. And that would be 1, let the old stuff go and know who wanted it and why, what part of yourself. 2, be prepared for uncomfortableness. So when it happens, you know why you're doing it, and maybe even have a strategy on how to, deal with that weird time, what your self-talk is going to be. Write it down on a piece of paper. And then 3, allow time and grow and celebrate when these small changes happen. And over time, those become habits and patterns. So those are the 3 tips. Speaking of new, I have some new things going on in my company as well. So I've rebranded. So we've updated the website name. It's now called Dealing with Your Diabetes. So my parent company is still always Dragonfly Lights, and we've got a lot of things going on. So Dragonfly Lights now under it, and the diabetes world with the coaching that I'm doing is called Dealing with Your Diabetes. We kicked off a webinar series this week. The first one was all about the missing link, like what your doctors probably aren't telling you, which is really what I cover in the coaching side of things. Next week, we're talking about grief. So we always don't think grief when we think diabetes, but there's actually a big correlation. And so we're going to talk about that. You can register on my website. I'll put the link below this if you want to click there. They'll make it easier. And what else? And I'm getting ready. I'm shooting some videos, so I'm really super excited. We're going to be doing coaching videos online that can be accessed, so you don't actually have to meet one-on-one or talk to anybody about anything. You can get this information and do some home coaching on your own to start bringing some awareness and new ideas and new strategies on how you can live better with your diabetes. Okay, that's what I have. Enjoy the spring weather and go plant some seeds. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.